Welcome everyone, this is Dr. Bradshaw. I wanted to have a short video to welcome you all to our course. Forgive me for not having a video of myself. I'm in between hair appointments, but I look forward to meeting you digitally in the next couple of weeks when we schedule our one-on-one meetings. Hopefully by now you've all had a chance to look at the syllabus. And I know there's a lot of questions about the multimedia artifacts, so I wanted to share with you a couple of examples so that you would feel comfortable for when you need to post your first multimedia artifact for next week of some examples of what you might use. So these artifacts are going to be based upon the reading that I asked you all to do for this week about reading critically, and you didn't have to create a multimedia artifact for that. All that you need to do this week is complete your introduction. So once you read that short little PDF, these artifacts will go with that. So if you haven't done that yet, read the PDF first so that you'll have the best understanding of how the artifacts fit in with the readings. So remember that each artifact that you submit should connect to the themes of the content for that week. And I say content because each week, if you look at your syllabus week by week, you see that there are podcasts, there are TED Talks, there are articles that you read. So it's not just readings, but you want to, as you're going through the content for each week, you want to look at the themes that you see, any connections that you've made to your previous life, let me try that again, to your own life, to popular culture, to things that you read about in other courses, to things, that are going on at your school. You want to pull from those themes to try and get a multimedia artifact that can convey the themes to the rest of the class. You will have all different types of artifacts that will be shared from your classmates. I developed this technique to try and synthesize the readings best in courses, because right now we only have one reading per week, but as the time goes on, we will have lots of different things that we'll be studying. Instead of just having a simple question and answer, which is pretty low on our DOK level, this is asking you to synthesize the information and hopefully make some more authentic connections to your own life. So, moving forward, let's look at an example. So, this is my example for an artifact for reading 1 from week 1. So we're talking about reading critically, and so I have this little meme that I created from Meme Generator with a little lady lifting up her glasses, and it says, "Say what?" The reason I have this meme and how I'm connecting it to the readings is that oftentimes when you see something written that you do, that you may or may not agree with, sometimes we don't voice those concerns. So when you're reading critically, I want you to think about it is okay to question the documents that are shared with you in this course. If you hear about something and you're like, I'm not really sure if I agree with all of their points, I want you to feel free to say that. I am not, I did not create all of this content. I am simply utilizing the content from all different people, from different experts in different fields, to give you the best well-rounded course possible. That doesn't mean that you have to accept everything. I want you to be critical, because if you're critical, then you are able to analyze the arguments made from your authors, and that is what criticality is about. It's not a negative approach. It's being able to assess the validity of an argument. So it is okay to read something and say, what? That sounds kind of crazy. But, even if it sounds crazy initially, read through their evidence, give some time for it to marinate, and see if you think that it might be logical, whatever it is that they're saying. And if it is, then explain why, and if it isn't, then explain why. So that is an example of an artifact that you might use for week 1. Another example I have of a connection that I made from reading our PDF about critical reading is a book that I've once read called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I apologize for any possible spoilers here if this is a book that you're in the middle of reading. But it's a book from like the 1970s where there's a question where there's this computer, this mega computer, who says that they have the answer to the ultimate question, the everything question. And then all these people gather around and they say, okay, the answer is 42. And everyone's like, well, what does that mean? And the computer says, you're not asking the right questions. The answer is 42, but you need to better assess your questions in order to understand the answer. So when we're thinking about reading critically, this can be for your own reading and like your own understanding of the document. So am I asking the right questions here? Or you might be analyzing their scholarship. Did they ask the right questions? So it's not just that we're accepting the answer, but we're always thinking about the questions that we're asking, and are we asking the right questions? Could there be better questions out there that we could ask? So that's another connection that I made. Alright, then finally I have 2 links. My computer is having some technical difficulties. I think I've already pulled up the links so that you can see them better. So give me just a moment. So the first one is an article on inquiry-based learning. So this is a connection that I made in critical reading, or reading critically, excuse me. I think pedagogically often, and I see direct connections with reading critically as myself as the teacher with my students. I want my students to be able to read critically because that's a key component of inquiry-based learning. It's not that you are simply taking what is given to you, but you are asking questions, and those questions lead to your own growth in the classroom. So this is an article from Edutopia discussing inquiry-based learning. I also had another link which could have been your artifact. So this is just kind of 2 different artifacts, either one you could have used. I'm going to hit play.
And those are really exciting. What's exciting about the inquiry model is that we go far and above what the curriculum expectations are. Kids are invested in their learning, and they're able to transfer and apply what they're learning in school to the real world.
Okay, so again, I chose that artifact to help me discuss, hang on, let me get that back there, the connections that I make to reading critically to how that can evolve in my classroom with inquiry-based learning. So that would be the connection that I would make if I chose that artifact. So those are just 3 different examples that you might use. Any of them are fine. One example is not worth more than another. Don't feel like you can't use, a meme or a sitcom, and you have to use a scholarly journal every time. Variety is the spice of life, though, so hopefully you won't use like the same kind of artifact every time. I hope that you can explore different artifacts, because that is our life. We're bombarded with all different types of multimedia artifacts. So share those with your fellow students. All right, so the next thing I wanted to share with you are the badges. So instead of having traditional GoView responses of like, oh yeah, me too, I do that too in my classroom. What I'm trying to get you guys to do is dig in a little deeper. So instead of just saying, oh, I liked your artifact, I want you to tell me, I think you made a really good point about this. I think that you were thinking differently. This is a new approach that I never would have taken. Or I think what you did was really courageous. Sometimes being the unpopular opinion is difficult. It's difficult to feel the courage to share that opinion. So sharing that with others and being being respectful while doing it and showing your evidence is something that we want to applaud in our fellow classmates. Same thing as if they're bringing in a point that you didn't think about before, or if they're thinking differently, something that's a little out of the box. So just award one badge a week to your fellow classmates, and that is the only response that I'm asking you all to do. So read through all of the multimedia artifacts from your fellow classmates and then award a badge to them. I know this is a little different from probably any other class that you've done, because I created this in an effort to mix it up a little bit and have online learning be a little more exciting for me and my students. And it's worked really well in the past, so I hope that you will enjoy it as well. Final things, just a couple of reminders for online learning. A few final reminders for online learning again. There will be variations to our schedule. So I know you guys are working teachers. I like to see what is over the horizon. So on our day-to-day items, I give you a plan for what I expect you all to be reading in the upcoming weeks. I even gave you the links to them. It could change. And I hope that you guys will be flexible with me. Variations to the teaching schedule occur. And I will be flexible with you, and I hope that you will also be flexible with me. You will notice that on GoView, I will share the week's content 2 weeks out always, so that you have, a good view of what's coming. But, syllabus are guides. They're not exactly set in stone, but I will try my best to keep exactly to the syllabus, but there will be variations dependent on what you guys need. If I feel like you guys need some wiggle room with something, then we will make we'll carve out time to do something so we can explore all the topics that we need for the course. Remember that tone is often difficult to gauge digitally, so be careful to when you share thoughts and items that could be offensive. So I know I'm asking you guys to find multimedia artifacts. Some of our sense of humors are different than others, so something that may be funny to you could be offensive to someone else. So please take a moment to reflect upon that before you share it. We're all adults, so I think that we can move forward easily in this direction. Just remember that tone is often difficult to gauge digitally. Communication is key in online learning and in any learning environment, so please make sure that you are talking to me if something is going on in your personal life and your teaching life that I need to be aware of. I promise you I will work with you, but if you ghost me, I cannot help you. I need you to keep in contact. So my email is the best way to get in touch with me. I check that all the time. I have a little bit of a problem of email addiction. So email me. I will get back with you as soon as I possibly can. And just let me know what's going on, and I will help you the best that I can. Finally, just be open to new ideas. The fact that you're in a graduate program that's online is telling me already that you're open to different ways of learning. So we will be looking at different ideas about communication and collaboration in schools. And I know that in every course I've ever taken, the more I put into it, the more I get from it. So being open to new ideas is going to be key to this course. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing your first multimedia artifacts next week. See you later!